G'day punters, welcome to the mailbag powered by puntingform.com.au. It's the database that we all use. You should too. Head to puntingform.com.au. Give it a go. You won't regret it. Peter, how are you, mate?
Very good.
CF Orr Stakes Day on Saturday at Caulfield. I think one of the all-time great races. Has been a little bit neglected by the prize money in recent years, which, and as we know, no one loves cash more than people in racing. Ourselves included. So the quality of that race has dropped away. But this is a race that, Dissidents won, Black Caviar's won, Black Art Bart, Hartnell, some of the proper weight for age superstars of our time. And if you go further back, all the greats, Redouts, Manicato, that's about as far back as I can go off the top of my head. As you know, I'm not a big sort of race person. This is one of the races that I really like and know a little bit about and excited about on Saturday. You?
Could you imagine if this race was in Sydney? They would call it like something along the lines
Colgate
of
Optical White,
the inception, or like the start, or the beginning, or something like that, and they'd get sealed like the form every year.
Odds and evens still going?
I don't know, but it would be worth 2.5-3 million easy.
Yeah, I think this race needs an injection. What is it worth now? I didn't actually look at that.
I'm pretty sure that's up from last year. I'm pretty sure last year was $500.
It was a $500,000 race, so they've whacked on $250,000, which is less than the average yielding price of the Magic Millions. It's very, very hard to buy a horse. We have done all the work, I grinded very hard, Peter, with Robertos Scurry at the Classic Sale, but we just couldn't find a horse that we thought was a value bet for us, so we've let that wholesale go.
Yep.
And we filled our horses from the Magic Millions a little bit ago. So
all sold out.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved, I suppose you head to the website, which I'm not sure what it is, but there's a link to it on the mailbag at themailbag.com.au, and register your interest. We will still be active. We're looking at the Tassie and Adelaide Magic Millions, as well as the English Premier in Sydney. Highly doubtful we head to the English Easter sale, given how much they're going for at the moment. But and always looking to buy online. Very interesting horse. A couple of horses yesterday went for it. One went for a stack, Yulong Code. So
okay.
Yeah, looking at tried horses, but definitely going to try and find one or two more yearlings in the sort of start of the year. Anyway, back to
bit going on
to Caulfield. We've got the Preludes, we've got the CF Orr, the Rubiton Stakes, Carline Cup, the Hayes Stakes. It's group racing all day except for the first race. It's a really nice day's racing. But I would say, Peter, and I think you'd agree, it's a card where if you're a young punter and you're setting yourself for a big autumn, my strong advice, there's two bits, is keep a fair few bullets up your sleeve. There is a stack of horses first up here. There's a stack of horses in the Prelude that are like dropping back in trip and they're aimed at the Blue Diamond. Just be very, very careful. This is more of a learning meeting as opposed to a betting meeting, is my advice. And with those first up horses, unless you want to get extremely car sick and learn how to watch trials in a day, which again, are they trying this week or are they aimed at other races? Let me and Jacko hold your hand. Mounting our mail is a very, very valuable thing to have on race days like this.
Yep. Caulfield and Randwick this weekend, utmost importance.
Well, I've actually looked right through the Randwick card, 10 of the best, and some of the worst races of all time to bet into, in my opinion. And there's so much first up. It's just going to be a big Rob Scurry day. Yep. Just going to let him fly from the 3-point line. I hope we land a few, I reckon.
Absolutely. All right. Which races do you want to start, or do you want to have a look at to preview this Caulfield card?
I'm happy to talk about anything you want. The race we're going to bet into is the CF Orr Stakes, so you lead me away.
All right. Well, let's start with the CF Orr then. It's the main event. Let's get cracking. It's race 8, 1400, weight for age. As you said, heaps of these resuming, but the favourite is not resuming. It's second up here. Oh, not second up. It's
fourth up, but it's got the classic sort of CF Orr profile, which is the 1200 Group 2 at Moonee Valley, Australia Stakes, I think it's called, Peter. Back to Caulfield, back to 1400 metres. This is a race where traditionally you want to settle sort of midfield or better, and you want to have one at Caulfield before over the 1400 metre race. Yeah, 1400 metre trip. I think Lightsabers are lightweight from 5. It leads pretty comfortably. Wild Planet can roll forward. Tefane thereabouts. I think Behemoth, and if I own Secret Blaze, they'd roll forward, but I don't know if it'll be quick enough and they want to cook it. But I think Behemoth has to go forward, and it suits J Carr if they do. Sinawan from 6. Now, this is a horse probably could set a little bit worse in midfield, but if you think back to Willow rides Sinawan here, not Behemoth, but you think back to Willow riding Behemoth 400 metres Caulfield, he knows you want to be forward in midfield. He dug that horse out of like rails and run, worse in midfield to like one out, one back a few times. I can see Sinawan settling a little bit closer than you'd anticipate. Sierra Sue from 7, I think sort of suited to the 1400 more than you'd expect, just like Tefano, but I think she's got a little bit of a tricky map. Then Just Folk, Cascadian, I'm Thunderstruck, and Bob Peters' horse. I think I'm Thunderstruck and Bob's horse will settle last. I think both of them want further. I think I'm Thunderstruck's taking up too much of the market. I mean, this is a horse first up last prep, was on a heavy 12 at Sale at 1. So it made a lot of ground as a horse last preparation, and it kicks off now in a Group 1. So I'm happy to sort of bet around it. And the other horse we haven't mentioned, I think he'll settle midfield, is Lighthouse, which is the progressive sort of import there for the Mark Eustace camp, Peter.
Yep, exactly right. Look, I, just running through. So Sinawan had the 63-day let-up. So I guess it still has that residual fitness. This is the second run since that let-up. But how good's the draw for Willow? Like, he can basically just draws to the outside of Lightsaber. He doesn't actually have to do anything early outside of just being a nuisance for horses that perhaps want to try and roll forward, as you said. So like Tofane, Behemoth, if Sierra Sue, they want to try and roll forward. Secret Blaze just makes them work a little bit early. Ends up midfield with Colour Surely.
And he's just got that classic setup, which is the 1200 Australia Stakes at Moonee Valley, run off his feet, back to here and suit us. Streets of Avalon did it last year. Manuel did it. Blackheart Bart did it. Only the really, really good weight for age horses win this fresh. I don't think there's any of them here. I think Sinawan kicks up. I think he puts on it makes him go a little bit quicker. And he's a track and trip horse. The other horse that's a track and trip horse here is Behemoth, who goes 1100 to 1400, which is what Alabama Express did to win this race. He was coming from a Flemington 1100 metre race. This is coming from a Morphettville race, but that's where Behemoth lives. So you can't blame him for that, can you? It's not his fault.
No.
So I think J Carr's a big positive switch. I think J Carr suits the big boy. She's got the best balance in racing. I love her on a front running horse. I think if this horse jumps, pings and rolls across, it'd be hard to catch, won't it?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, look, by race 8 you'll get a good idea, but if you're already on Sinawan, then you can just adjust as the day unfolds towards the end.
Oh, I think the way to play this race is to back Sinawan, is to back Behemoth. I think the first 4 here might be those two. That's Behemoth and Sinawan, then throw in Tefane, and I reckon Lightsaber will run a bit of a race there up on the speed.
Yep.
Worried where Lightsaber's aimed at. I do think there's a few here sort of thinking about the All-Star Mile and 1600 metre races, whereas I reckon Sinawan, this is it for it. This is its goal.
Last day to vote in the All-Star Mile. If you haven't, and you want to.
And that's right, punters. We are voting for Elephant. We're going to have a big function, big drink, we're going to roar this thing home as a group. Elephant is going to the All-Star Mile, and we think it can win. And we're going to drink all day long celebrating it.
Okay.
Please vote for Elephant.
Very good.
Peter's going to come over and wear a big trunk thing all the way around the stinger with big Mark Roden. If you don't come, he has to wear the trunk.
Sorry, Mark. Okay, we've got some nice little Blue Diamond Preludes earlier in the card. We're talking race 3 and race 4. If we have a look at race 3, it's the Colts and Geldings first of all. You've got Jack and O favourite at 270.
Our man who's got, I think, the strongest eyebrows in racing and the strongest eyebrows at Kiramar racing is Josh KC. Here we have a little conniptions here because there's a lot of 1 from 1 2-year-olds, which he loves 1 from 1 2-year-olds, and rightly so. I don't know what you do here from a betting point of view. Count the headlights. Has the grouse form now. The Eros form is grouse form. That's the English Millennium form. You can tie it all in. It wasn't expected to do what it did, that Moonee Valley, but it did it. I hate 1200 back to 1100. I hate it. I think it'll be a really nice performance and probably, back me in the Blue Diamond run, but probably not winning here run. I think Jacquinot is going to get way too far back for the way this race will be run. It's only 9 horses as we speak. It might be sort of 6 or 7 by the time they jump. I think Philosopher's got to sort of put it together. I think there'll be a fair bit of intent from it. I really don't think it's a betting race.
Okay. On the flip side, what about the fillies in race 4?
I found this race. Look, I think Miss Racino and Seven Sisters will roll forward. Letizia and No Diggity probably have to roll from the wide draws there. English Riviera kick up. I think if Revolutionary Miss runs, it's the horse to have something each way on or back. That's number 4, Revolutionary Miss. The Russian Revolutions look like they're going pretty good and they're pretty quick early.
Yep.
You agree with that?
Oh, from what I've seen, but early days.
Yeah, like so. I mean, it's like a gamble to even say that, isn't it? But for what I've seen so far, I think they're a bit sharp. I wanted to back Sumatra, which is to count the headlights Eros form, but Barrier 14, Freddie Kersley. I just don't know what's going to happen there, and it could be really, really bad. If he goes back to last, I don't think it can win, but if he rolls forward and sits 5 wide, I reckon it could win. So if you're an in-play punter and it's 5 wide on the speed and it's just blowing out the market, I'd be nibbling away at that. But if I had to bet, which I don't, number 4, Revolutionary Miss, excited to see what Sumatra does.
Okay. The only other race that I think you had of interest was race 2, wasn't it? The Autumn Stakes?
Yeah, fascinating race. I reckon this Spirit of Gaylord for Mitch Freedman is a proper horse and a horse with a bit of scope and a bit of upside. I don't think it's massive winning hope on Saturday, but it's a horse you definitely want to sort of watch and see how well it goes and maybe find out if they do on .com or RSN. G Hall asks Mitch where it's going. I think it's a horse you could look to have something on in a futures bet. Certainly in that sort of camp where it might be a little bit more under the bonnet still.
Yep.
I think Sharp Response is flying. I think it gets an okay map here. But I think Decent Rain, which is one of the most confusing horses, this is still first prep, been up forever, but just keeps running big races and going to get a beautiful map here for John McNeil. I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat. That's number 7, Decent Rain. But you need to have something if you're going to bet on number 6, Mahrez.
Okay.
Very, very, very good at packing them. J Cargo's on, I reckon. Top of my head.
Yep.
J Cargo's on, very lightly raced. But Peter, my man, it's packing them form. What do we do with that? Like, God only knows. There's been 3 winners come out of its debut run, but nothing's run big time. The jury's still out. I can't predict with confidence which way the market goes here, but it was very, very good at packing them. And I think the bigger mobs who move the market don't care as much about the intricacies of, tracks and stuff down here because they win anyway. So they probably back it, I think. But fascinating horse.
Yeah.
Mahrez.
Certainly big splits there last start. Didn't break the class benchmark overall, but did on debut when winning at Geelong. So
but it'd want to run home some big splits because they went extremely fucking slow to the 600.
Yep.
So bit of a grey up, but I just reckon it's going to run a race. That's Mahrez. But Decent Rain on top there, Peter, in race 2. That's us for the show.
Yep.
If you want to bet with us, head to themailbag.com.au. We'll hold your hand everywhere. Curly in Queensland, Rob and Mark in Sydney, Pistol Pete in Perth, me and Jacko in Victoria. And, Peter, if you want to be the next mailbag intern, email me your application, jack@themailbag.com.au. It's that time again, so if you want to get involved in our team, email jack@themailbag.com.au. Have a great weekend, guys, and really enjoy CF Orr Stakes Day. It's a fantastic day's racing, group racing back in Melbourne. Bye for now.